You're listening to Freezecast, a podcast discussing all the latest news and drama in the Toontown community. Hello, guys. Welcome to the third episode of Freezecast. This episode is brought to you by Freeze Reacts. More on that later. We have Joey Ziolkowski from Toontown Rewritten with us today. Welcome to the show, Joey.
Thanks for having me on, Freeze. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you.
I've been looking forward to this as well. I guess I'll open with a question everyone wants to know. Why did you ban me from your game?
Well, you see, we were getting a lot of complaints about your IP address, so we had to take the appropriate action to appease those complaints.
And did your moderation team investigate the matter? I have a hard time believing they did, because they would have seen that IP address was not mine. I was using a VPN.
Well, we did see that you were using that IP address, so I think that was enough investigating. Our moderators are very busy doing other things, so they don't always have time to investigate every little detail of every ban.
That would explain why your moderation system is so unjust. What else are your moderators busy doing exactly? I can't think of any excuse for injustice.
Well, mostly they're busy eating and sleeping.
That's no surprise for a volunteer moderation team. You mentioned that you, quote, took appropriate action to appease complaints, end quote. Are you implying that you and your moderation team only care about rule breaking if players complain about it?
Well, what's the point in investigating if nobody complains?
Unbelievable. So here's another question about my ban. Why was my real IP address banned when I tried to appeal?
Well, that's because we assumed you were trying to ban evade.
What are you talking about? How is appealing the same thing as attempted ban evasion?
Because we thought you were appealing in order to ban evade.
So what I'm hearing is, you issued a permanent IP ban based on an assumption. Is that correct?
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds bad.
Maybe because it is bad. How many other bans have you issued based on assumptions?
Probably at least, I'd say maybe 95% of all bans we make.
Okay. Well, I wanted to dedicate this next segment to discussing how you can make your moderation more fair. But not before we talk about today's sponsor, Freeze Reacts. Freeze Reacts is the reaction branch of the Justice for Freeze movement, where we upload reaction-based commentary content on many different videos and topics. If you're a fan of the commentary genre on YouTube, you'll love Freeze Reacts. Check out our first reaction video, where we give commentary and criticism on one of Frizzy Dog and Pop's old privated Toontown videos today. With that out of the way, are you ready to discuss fairness and justice, Joey?
Yes, Freeze, I am.
Okay, great. Well, you could start by unbanning me.
Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen.
Justice isn't a joke, Joey. The best way to correct an unfair moderation system is to right past wrongs and reinstate unfairly banned accounts.
I don't know what past wrongs you're talking about. The Toontown moderation team is perfect. They don't make mistakes.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Did you just say the Toontown moderation team is perfect?
Yes, they know what they're doing.
And yet you admit that they ban people based on assumptions.
Yes, and their assumptions are always correct.
That's not possible, especially considering they're all volunteers, so they have no real incentive to do their job well.
And their incentive is to not get fired and have to go live on the streets.
What are you talking about? It's a volunteer position. They don't get paid for it, hence why they make so many mistakes.
Freeze, I already told you. They don't make mistakes. Anyone who gets banned deserves to be banned. And to address your claim that they don't get paid, I actually pay them in jelly beans, the official currency of Toontown.
What about Smokin' Foreman?
Smokin' Foreman is an exception. That was the one time we did make a mistake.
So your moderation team isn't perfect then?
I didn't say that. We just had a small lapse in judgment at one time.
Whatever. Arguing with you about this is obviously pointless. So I'm just going to move on to how you can actively improve your moderation system and make it more fair. A good way to start would be to actually investigate cases instead of taking shots in the dark. Is that something you think you could do?
Well, of course, that's something I think we could do. Whether or not we want to do it is a different question, though.
You're impossible. I'm trying to help you make your moderation more fair for everyone. And you're saying you might not even want to. Wow. Just wow.
I really don't think there's anything wrong with the way we're doing things. If people don't want to get banned, they shouldn't play our game. It's as simple as that.
Players should be allowed to play the game without the threat of unfair punishment looming over them.
And you and I can agree to disagree on that. We have a clause in our terms of service which all players must agree to in order to play Toontown Rewritten, which says that we can terminate any account at any time and for any reason.
Oh, so you're acting as dictators in your Toontown server. That's probably the closest thing to power you'll ever get.
I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say here. To tell you the truth, we banned you because we wanted to. You didn't really break any rules. We just thought it would be funny.
You? What?
You heard me.
You do realize you just admitted on recording that you ban your players for fun, right?
I'm fully aware.
That's debatable. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Why doesn't your moderation team actually look into IP addresses and the like?
Like I said, our moderators can't look into every detail. They're very busy.
Of course they are. I'm not a moderator, thankfully, but wouldn't looking into an account's IP address take all of 30 seconds?
No comment.
You're not making this easy. You could at least have your moderators take the basic initiative to look at the IPs of the users they're banning, to prevent them from banning the wrong person.
That is a good point. I'll give you that one, but we're running a Toontown server, so we don't have any initiative to begin with.
Well, you've run out all the time we have for the main segment, so we're going to move on to some listener-submitted questions now.
Okay, sounds good, I guess.
Okay, here's the first question submitted by listeners. Why does the Toontown Rewritten moderation team act as tyrannical dictators?
That's an easy one. Because we want to, and because it's fun.
I'm going to pretend you didn't just give the most infuriating answer possible. Next question. What will the Toontown Rewritten team do to improve their moderation practices going forward?
Absolutely nothing. We really don't need to improve anything. I think we have a great system.
You really don't. But unfortunately, you already wasted all the time we had for the main segment. So we have to keep moving through these questions. Next question. Will you unban Freeze?
I think we already know the answer to that one. It's no. Freeze deserves to be banned, and he deserves to stay banned. I know we banned him for fun, but anyone who gets banned for any reason deserves it.
You make me sick. Next question. Why do you hate justice?
Well, justice isn't really a priority for us here at Toontown Rewritten. It's not in our mission statement to be fair or just in our moderation decisions. Our number one priority is to have fun, and we do that very well.
It isn't in your nature to be fair or just either.
Exactly, you got it.
Next question. I submitted a report, and it was never taken care of. What happened?
Well, there are many reasons that your report could be rejected by our moderation team. And it could be a false report. It could not be worth looking into. It could just not be an entertaining report. So what I would do in your situation is email Toontown Rewritten support about it. And if it's an interesting enough report, they should help you out.
You disgust me. Your team only looks into reports that interest them?
Yes, that's correct.
I don't even know what to say. My mind is blown.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It wasn't meant as one. I don't know how much more of this blatant disregard for justice I can take.
It's not about justice, it's about having fun. Come on, lighten up, live a little.
Your idea of fun is horrifying.
Well, fun is subjective, but I really think that if you were to...
Enough of that gross display of injustice. It's time to wrap up the show. That was Joey Ziolkowski from Toontown Rewritten. Everyone. Hopefully, he learns to be fair and just soon. In the meantime, don't forget to check out today's sponsor, Freeze Reacts, for our latest reaction content. And tune in next time when we'll have a Toontown content creation veteran on to discuss Toontown content and why it no longer works on YouTube. This has been Freezecast Episode 3. Freeze, signing off.
Funding for this episode of Freezecast was made possible in part by Freeze Reacts and by listeners like you. Thank you. Freezecast is written and produced by Mr. Freeze for Justice for Freeze. This podcast is a parody meant for entertainment purposes only. The creators of Freezecast do not condone the harassment of anyone appearing in or mentioned in this podcast. Freezecast is a work of fiction. All characters appearing in this work are fictitious. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Thank you for listening to Freezecast.